Hi, welcome to this video. So, in case you haven't heard, there's a new moon solar eclipse happening at 28 degrees of Leo. So this eclipse includes the sun at 28 degrees, the moon at 28 degrees, the north node at 24 degrees, and Mars at 20 degrees, all in Leo. And they are also trine Uranus, which is retrograde, at 28 degrees of Aries, and Saturn, which is retrograde, at 21 degrees of Sagittarius. So we've got ourselves a grand fire trine once more. And this grand fire trine is breaking down old structures to make way for new ideas and new ways of thinking and being, new creative beings rising up. If you're following your heart, if you're being true to yourself, you will be like a Leo and rise in your pride in yourself, in your general sense of being proud of yourself, and you will feel good about yourself if you're true to your heart. Now, if you're not true to your heart, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up for you during this eclipse. There's going to be everything where you haven't been true to your heart, where you haven't been true to yourself, where you haven't been standing up for yourself. All of these things may be rising up to the top to be recognized so that you have a chance to be extremely true to yourself. Now, there's also a lot of beliefs and whatnot that are needing to be let go of at this time. There's a lot of things rising back up since Saturn's been in Sagittarius, there's been all kinds of crap coming up. All the different separations, all the different beliefs that make no sense are just rising to the surface, and we need to contend with these things. We need to try to deal with these things and let go of these things and reduce this separation that is being caused by belief systems and ways of looking at the world that just are no longer true, or maybe never were true. In fact, I'm thinking with some of them, they were never true. But anyways, it could even be more simplified to what is no longer true for you. So looking at the things that are just no longer true for you and realizing that we are constantly expanding and we are constantly becoming who we are in every moment. We're never really the past. We are who we are in this moment. And that is a realization that is coming forward as well with Uranus in Aries, I feel. So, yes, these are pretty volatile times indeed. And hopefully we can overcome all of the problems that are coming up to the surface. And let's hope, we survive this eclipse. It's not very funny. Anyway, Venus is also trine Chiron during this eclipse, and Chiron is retrograde. So with this trine, this is going to be a time of healing and healing our family and our love and being more true to our feelings and being more receptive to our feelings, being more open to listening to our feelings, and allowing ourselves to heal more easily, maybe even connect on a deeper level with people and reveal the pain that you have, or be more open about the wounds that have been happening, the bubbling under the surface of wounds, especially because it's retrograde. There may be, once we go within, there's maybe some wounds that are coming up for us, older wounds, and now perhaps we can be a listener for someone else, or maybe we can be more connected to someone on a deeper level because we are willing to reveal those wounds at this time. And Jupiter is in 20 degrees of Libra, so it is also sextile Mars, exactly. in this eclipse, and also sextile the other planets in this eclipse. And well, it's a pretty far opposition to Uranus, but it's sextile Saturn as well. So yeah, beliefs. Beliefs are a big thing right now. There's a need to be more harmonious when it comes to situations when we're around people and the topic of beliefs comes up. We should be mindful of other people's opinions and respectful of every person, respectful towards all people. Libra very much cares for the underdog, so there's a lot of support for the underdog at this time. So anybody who is being treated unfairly is going to have an extra bit of support at this time. And so there is that sense of expanding beyond the projections of others, and that's going to be coming up maybe more so than normal. And there is the with the sextile to Saturn, this is when we're going to be hopefully expanding our minds more and being more mindful of other people and being more harmonious to other people and not creating separation between groups and being more of a bridge between people and being loving towards all people, and especially people who are suffering. And then Jupiter is also square Venus in Cancer. So this is kind of an interesting combination because Venus rules Libra and Jupiter, is being square to Venus at this time. So there are some maybe tensions coming up in that need for harmony. So there is this need for harmony and peace and love and comfort and connection and feeling nurturing and all this stuff, but perhaps there's a lot of tension coming up around the ideals, or being maybe someone is being overly self-righteous in a situation or something like that, where there just needs to be a tension that is resolved between people at this time, and a sense of compassion and being more open-minded and looking at other people's points of view and not being too subjective, because Cancer can be overly subjective. It can kind of, when it feels threatened, it can kind of resort to like going back into its shell and cutting people out and not looking at the other person's point of view. Now, you don't want to do that, so you want to try to remain expanded and open and be willing to listen, because Cancer is actually good at listening, and the good, on the good end of Cancer is very good listener. So it is willing to listen at times. It's just when it feels threatened, it can close off. So there's that kind of sense happening. Perhaps a touchy subject could be brought up around beliefs or ideals or things of that nature. And so if somebody shuts down, maybe you should kind of back off a little when it comes to topics like that. If you're getting overly self-righteous in your position, then maybe it's a good idea to kind of calm down and allow them to, come back out of their shell. So, yeah. And then, Jupiter is also square Pluto and Capricorn. So I did just talk about this in my last video. If you want to check that out, I talk a bit about that. But there's and I've done a lot of videos on Jupiter square Pluto. So yeah, just check out my archive and you'll see a few videos that have a title of that in it. But also my last video, which I didn't put in the title. But anyways. And then Mercury is retrograde in Virgo now, and it is just shy of being opposite Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is retrograde. But the exact opposition won't occur until after Mercury goes direct and reaches about 13 degrees of Virgo. So, but there is that sense of Mercury opposite Neptune kind of in the air because it's within 5 degrees. Now, with both of them being retrograde, this is bringing up a different kind of perspective on it. But Mercury opposite Neptune gives a general sense of perhaps confusion because our intuition could be saying one thing while our logical reasoning could be saying another. And Neptune actually rules Pisces and Mercury rules Virgo, so they are amplified. Being retrograde probably increases the confusion, and when it comes to what your intuition is saying, it may actually be easier to listen to our intuition right now because we're willing to go within a bit more, and looking at things in a symbolic manner can be very useful at this time. With Mercury retrograde, communicating can be an issue, and communicating any insights about these symbolic sort of ideas or intuitive ideas can be a little more difficult, and maybe crossed wires could occur. So it may be a better idea to just listen more at this time, and if anything, write it down, because writing is, and it would be something that you would only look at, and maybe look at a future date, maybe when Mercury goes direct, and kind of try to make sense of it at that time. So any dreams that you have, or any sort of intuitive nudgings that you have, if you write them down, it could be a good way to unfold what's going on with you unconsciously, and you can become more aware of the symbolic meaning, perhaps at a later date, and kind of make more sense of these things. It's also great for just kind of going with the flow at this time. It's more of a go with the flow sort of time. And actually, what's kind of interesting too is if you are trying to drive to the eclipse, Mercury's retrograde, plus I keep hearing that the traffic is going to be unprecedented. And I keep joking that the traffic's going to be astronomical. So yeah, travel plans may not go exactly how you planned, but going with the flow is probably the best approach, and that's the approach I plan on taking myself. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. I appreciate it very much. Have an awesome time.